Hello everyone, I'm Taheg and welcome to the Nevers Podcast, a podcast dedicated to the discussion and dissection of every episode of the upcoming HBO series The Nevers, an original sci-fi drama epic from writer, producer, director Joss Whedon. If you'd like to follow us online, you can visit our website at hbothenevers.com. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and YouTube, simply at HBO The Nevers. You can also stream our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, and pretty much anywhere else you can find podcasts. Joining me today is Dennis.
Hi, hey, thanks for having me on. It's just me this week.
Yes, well, this is not, for anyone that's a bit confused as to why we're getting this one out so quickly, this is not your ordinary podcast. It's a streamlined, it's more of a newscast, because, as I'm sure any of you people out there who are following us as closely as we are will have noticed, Variety put up an article earlier on talking about shows that are coming to HBO Max next year. One slightly interesting piece, it's a worrying piece of news, is coming to HBO Max in 2021, The Nevers. So, we are looking at somewhere between probably 18 and 24 months of wait until we actually see the first episode. That's a long wait, dude.
Yep.
I don't know about you, but I'm already climbing the frickin' walls waiting for this show. I was really hoping for maybe Q2, Q3 2020 to find out it's not going to be until probably Q2, Q3 2021. That's a long wait.
It is a long wait, and man, that means we're gonna have to work a lot harder to fill some episodes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and I was kind of, part of me was thinking, maybe that's their streaming service. Maybe it's not going to debut on their streaming. Maybe it'll premiere on the channel, but then it will be moving at a later date to HBO Max in 2021. Right. But sadly then, Laura Donnelly, who we all will hopefully soon come to know and love as Amalia True, tweeted, "So I think that's official that hashtag The Nevers is coming to HBO in 2021. Feels so long away, but I'm so excited for you all to see what we're working on. We mean business."
Yep, so that sounds official then.
Yeah, I think that pretty much puts the last nail in all my conspiracy theories coffins that it might possibly be out in late 2020.
Yep. Yeah, and it's interesting because the Variety article is only talking about HBO Max. So it did sound like, HBO Max is a kind of a separate service from regular HBO, so it could have been just a delay to get to that streaming service, but I guess we're wrong.
I was hoping that maybe they were gonna, cause it's 10 episodes for the first season, isn't it? So I was thinking, I was thinking maybe it would air in kind of Q3, then 10 weeks later when it finishes, they'd put the whole thing up on HBO Max so that people that wanted to could just stream the whole thing in one go. But sadly, it looks like it. I mean, that tweet from Laura Donnelly, it's quite hard to interpret that in any other way than they're coming in 2021.
Yeah. I will say this isn't as bad news as, I also saw that the Game of Thrones prequel with Naomi Watts, that was a series that they just straight up canceled.
Yeah, so I heard about that.
Sure, for any Naomi Watts / Game of Thrones hardcore fans, that's devastating news. So at least we're not in that boat.
One thing I will say, though, is this isn't a bad thing necessarily that it's coming out so late. It doesn't mean that HBO don't have faith in the pilot. It doesn't mean they've had to do any kind of rework to it. If anything, I would actually say that it being pushed onto Max, it airing on Max, is a very good thing. Not only does that mean that more people around the world will be able to see it, because obviously not everyone has HBO, but anyone anywhere in the world can get HBO Max. It also means that because it's the way streaming platforms work, they'll be going for a global, worldwide, simultaneous release for The Nevers, which means everyone from day one is going to be right there, episode 1 at the start. It won't be a question of it's airing in America now, but it'll be 6 weeks late to be in Britain, and it's not coming out till next year in China or wherever. because everywhere can get on that streaming platform straight away and start watching.
That's true. That's good news for you.
It's brilliant news for me. I was really worried that I wasn't going to be able to watch the freaking show. I was going to have to fly out to America or something. But I mean, looking at some of the shows they've already got on HBO Max, and then seeing that The Nevers is going to be premiering there, day one subscription. I'm all good. So, while I do slightly hate HBO for pushing it back like this, I'm quite glad that I will be able to at least watch the freaking show when it does come out in 2021.
Yeah, that sounds like a future date.
I would also just with the whole, because this kind of also ties in with the whole why haven't they started filming yet?
Yeah,
it kind of explains that, but also brings to mind one of my favourite quotes from Shigeru Miyamoto, who everyone will know as the head of Nintendo and the father of Mario and Zelda and all these legendary characters. He was once quoted as saying, "A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad." It's a fantastic quote because it applies to so many situations. It's like, yes, obviously I would rather have The Nevers right now because I want to watch it, I want to dive into that world. But it's going to be a very kind of CG heavy, very action heavy show. And I would rather rather it came out in 2021 and was fantastic than they pushed to get it out now and we got another, Game of Thrones season 7-8 situation where it was just god awful.
Yeah. It might end up helping the eventual look of the show. They'll certainly have time to tighten up any effects that they are working on.
Exactly.
It does make me wonder what's going on a little bit inside HBO. Obviously they got a lot going on with both their regular programming and their new shows, and now this new streaming service that's going to have its own original content. If maybe HBO is just kind of extending itself too far, but we'll see.
There is always a chance, because one of the sort of the wisps I've heard, which I do sort of agree with, is the fact that they're putting it onto HBO Max, the new streaming service, which is entering quite a busy marketplace right now. Everyone is throwing out their own streaming services, and if God forbid, touch wood, Joss help us, if the service goes down and they decide it's not financially viable, so they just can it, will that mean that the HBO Max originals will also be canned, or will they be moved across to just base HBO?
Yeah, and luckily we don't have to worry about that for this show because it's going to be it's still an HBO series.
True.
It's not part of the Max only content, which I actually am kind of interested in what these shows are, but that's for, I guess, a different podcast.
Indeed. Well, we have about 18 to make between now and then, so I'm sure one of them will be on it.
Yeah.
For those that are wondering and worrying, we will still be putting out podcasts because we love it so much we can't really stop now. We will probably be going to about a one podcast a month schedule from here until we start kind of seeing real news and real things coming out. Which actually brings me to the next subject, which is 2021 sounds like a really scary day. We're like, oh my god, it's going to be, 18 plus months before we see anything. That's not strictly true. 18 months is when the show airs. We've got a figure for a good 6 months before that. We're going to be getting teaser images, set images, maybe even a trailer. There's a lot of good information that will come between now and the time that the premiere airs. So it's
true.
Like, we will have a lot to discuss between now. We just won't be discussing how good the premiere was until 2021.
And by 2021 we'll also all be busy with our rocket packs and dealing with replicants and everything else that's in this far distant future to distract us.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't really much to say on this, much more to say on the subject. We just wanted to get this out there to assure all our listeners that the sky isn't falling, the show isn't in trouble. It's in fact probably safer than it has been at any point till now, because we know they're booked for at least one season, I think possibly 2 seasons, with ground booked for 3 to possible 5 seasons. The show is not in danger. The only danger right now is that we all lose our minds from hype and we can't make it to 20. I end up trying to freeze ourselves like that episode of South Park where Cartman can't wait to get the Nintendo Wii, so he freezes himself.
And I'd say if with all of the chaos in the coming years of in the next couple months even of new streaming services come out, it maybe helps to wait until things have settled before something premieres, you know. But we'll see.
Yeah, in fact, if you look at the shows coming in 2020, it's Succession, Westworld, The Righteous Gemstones, and Barry. Now, if I'm not terribly mistaken, none of them are new shows. They're starting HBO Max with their kind of set franchises, so they know that it'll be kind of a smooth transition. They know that everything on there, like, the Westworld, they're all Barry, they're all sure things, they're award-winning TV shows.
Right.
So in 2020, basically 2020 is like the soft launch of the streaming service. That's when they're kind of just, they're sticking a few, and then in 2021, when they actually start putting out the kind of Max series, they're hitting straight in with the Nevers. But it seems to me like they're really they're trying to put their best foot forward. All right, first new shows on our new streaming service, frickin' Nevers. Lead with that. In my opinion, that shows a certain amount of faith in the series, that they're willing to have it as one of their kind of lead shows for their new streaming service with their new content.
Yeah.
Just wanted to bring you in, say we'll still be here, filling your airwaves with quality content such as this past 20 minutes has been. Or 10 minutes after edits. And, we're there for you for the wait. Be strong, people. Dennis, do you want to...
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks for listening to me. I've been Dennis St. John. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dennis Comics. That's at DENISCOMIX. That's also my .com where you can buy my comics. And speaking of streaming services, if you have Apple TV Plus, you can watch, starting November 1st, Snoopy in Space. I worked on that. All right, and that's all I got.
That'll do us for today, then. Thanks for listening, everyone, and for being part of our ever-expanding Nevers podcast community. Please remember to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any brilliant episodes like this when they go live, and rate us on iTunes to really let everything spread. You can find us at hbothenevers.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search at HBO The Nevers. And remember, if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or concerns that aren't about the wait, then send them to theneverspodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. I've been Taheg, and this has been The Nevers Podcast.